Tokyo Brandon's resume in Asian baseball is quite impressive. 2021 number one overall profit leader, up 217% in profit, 61% in KBO, and 59% in Japanese baseball. For a limited time, you can lock in KBO from the start of the season in April through the championship in November 2022. And as an added bonus, we'll include any Japanese baseball played during your KBO All Access for the super early bird price of only $4.99. To make the added bonus juicier, we will also include any MLB plays during your access for free. To purchase all of these sports during this time frame, it would cost you over $1,300, but by locking yourself in early, we are dropping the cost all the way down to $4.99.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Pressman. That man is Teddy Covers. And Teddy, last show for a week for me. If I won't be around to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving next Thursday, so take care of that right off the bat. Today's show, Dave Cokin. We're talking St. Louis Blues, San Jose Sharks, San Diego State, and UNLV for Friday's college football card, and Boston College, Florida State. Ralph Michaels, an NFL chart, another NFL chart, Miami and the New York Jets game, and the Ohio State, Michigan State game. What's up, brother? How are you been?
Big game breakdown today. We're going to talk NFL Thursday night football. The New England Patriots against the Atlanta Falcons. So it is a loaded Thursday show. I'm doing okay, Prez. Had a winning night last night, which is a nice change of pace considering what my November has been like thus far. See if we can make it 2 in a row with a single best bet this evening. How about you, buddy?
I did not have a winning night last night, Teddy. I lost my college and I lost my NBA, but I went 1-1-1 in the daily presidential address, and people are betting those. I'm trying my best on them. That's for damn sure. What did you learn last night?
Well, we have the numbers. I don't know if you remember, at the beginning of October, on the show, we were running this 5 weekends of October promo at WagerTalk. Yep. Because there was 5 football weekends. And we've always kind of wondered, once sports betting was legalized and regulated, what kind of figures we were going to actually see. Well, we didn't just beat records. We blew up records in October across the country. New Jersey books, in September, they set their own record. They did $1 billion in handle. In October, $1.3 billion in handle. Pennsylvania set a record too, $776 million in handle. That's a 48% year-over-year increase. We talk about how sports betting is only getting bigger. These are numbers that prove it. $1.3 billion in New Jersey for a month. Yeah. We're seeing sports betting in a way that we just have never seen it before, Prez. It's exciting, it's dynamic, and it's a marketplace that is absolutely blowing up. To see these numbers, see these figures coming out, tells me that there is a wide audience for what we do on a daily basis. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Prez, back to you.
Yeah, dude, I think we're just begun. I mean, we haven't scratched the surface yet with where this industry is headed, and it's exciting and finally legal as well. Let's bring Dave Cokin in. Dave Cokin, welcome to WagerTalk Today, brother. Every Thursday, we are honored to have you with us. How you been?
Okay. Looking forward to the weekend. College basketball is off to a pretty good start. NHL's been very good. NFL been really hot the last 2 weeks. And, we'll see what happens with college football. It hasn't been great, but everything else is good.
Well, I mean, and does that bother you, or you just want to win, like, across all sports, or knowing how good you are in college football?
I want to win every bet, but the college football's been. I will admit that I just have not seen college football well this year. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I'm losing close games, too. I had 2 half-point losers last week. But it's and an overtime loser last night, by the way. But it happens that way in some sport. But look, I'm up about 120 units net for 2021. That's number 2 at WagerTalk. I think I was top 3 last year. As long as I'm in that upper echelon every year, I guess I'm doing okay. I don't like losing at anything.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. That's for sure. One of our listeners writes, hairiest show on the internet.
What? Hairiest? Yeah. Well, as long as I get
like
the hat on.
Two hosts with hair? 2 hosts with hair and a guy with a beard, and we're the hairiest show on the internet? Oh my Lord.
I only go to the barbershop to reminisce.
Dude, I don't even have hair on my chest. I don't know what that guy's going on about. Anyway, St. Louis Blues, San Jose Sharks. Unbelievable start by the Blues. They have come back down to earth. San Jose, 8-6 to start the year. They're doing well. Minus 145 for the home Blues, a total of 6. Where are you going in this game?
Yeah, they're betting San Jose, and I don't agree with that. I'm one of those guys who likes to, when a team, particularly when a team has a really bad game, I want to see what's said after the game. And on Tuesday, the Blues lost at home to the Arizona Coyotes. Anytime you lose to Arizona, that's a bad loss. And because Arizona's got 2 wins on the season, they are pretty clearly the worst team in the league. And I watched a good part of that game, and the Blues were sloppy and lazy in the first 2 periods, did not play well. Better in the third period because they were desperate. They were losing to San Jose, to Arizona, but not enough to come back and win. So I'm looking at the quotes after the game in the Post-Dispatch, which is the St. Louis major newspaper. And I liked what I saw out of the players. They were not happy with themselves. Torrey Krug said, I'm paraphrasing, said they played stupid and called Thursday's game a big game. O'Reilly, the team captain, had some comments that indicated, hey, we got to get our act together. They've lost 4 in a row in 5 of their last 6. They need to play well tonight. And I think the Blues are a good team, and I tend to trust good teams off bad games where they particularly come out and say, yeah, we were really bad. So I think you're going to get a focused effort out of the Blues tonight. And to me, 140, 145, even as high as 155, to me, that's a playable spot on the Blues. I expect them to win this game tonight, and I will be on the St. Louis Blues. So you've got my hockey play for tonight right there.
And those player quotes, not always, Dave, but sometimes those player quotes are definitely meaningful. Mr. Cokin found some quotes that make him like the St. Louis Blues this evening. Let's talk a little college football.
Just real quick add on to that. It depends who's saying it and how they say it. A lot of times it's just the stock and trade answers, as you're familiar with, Teddy.
Sure.
But this team was very angry with itself after losing on Tuesday night. And I think, if nothing else, we find out something about this team tonight. If they come out and play poorly again, it's a sign that there's some real problems there, and it might be worth looking to go against them on a regular basis until they figure things out.
Yeah, I agree 100% with the concept. And all I was saying was that there are a lot of quotes that are not very meaningful. Sometimes when we look, we find meaningful ones. Dave thinks he found some meaningful ones for St. Louis tonight. Let's shift our focus to college football. Talk about a Friday night affair. San Diego State and UNLV. UNLV just went over their season win total.
Yes.
Back-to-back wins for the Rebels. They went over 1.5. They have 2 victories now. The red-hot UNLV running Rebels. Can they hang tough with San Diego State on Friday night?
Well, by Rebel standards, they're on fire. Look, let's give them credit. They've hung in a lot of games this year. The Iowa State game was really bad. The Nevada game was very bad, especially considering how big that game is really to both schools. I know Reno's got the much better program, but trust me, that's a really big. It's an underrated rivalry, as those of us who live in Nevada are well aware. That was a clunker, and they came out of that with arguably their 2 best performances of the year: win against New Mexico, and then another win last week. And the Rebels are feeling good about themselves. San Diego State, it's a tricky spot. They're coming out of a big win, a very exciting win over Nevada. They've got a monster game with Boise State next week. So do you look at this and say, ooh, sandwich spot? Well, it is. But it's still, for me, it's more matchup than anything else. And this looks like a really bad matchup for UNLV. You can't run the ball on the Aztecs. Nobody can run the ball in San Diego State. That's their stock and trade is their defense. Their offense isn't very good. It's very pedestrian, and it's extremely low risk because Brady Hoke knows he doesn't have a lot of offensive talent outside of Bell, who's a very good running back when he's healthy. But they're a team that has to plod along offensively and play good defense. So they're risky laying big points with. But I like the matchup here for San Diego State because they're going to take away the UNLV running game. They're not going to get Williams, let Williams have a big game. And when Friel has to become the show offensively, he's just not up to it. I think there's potential there with him, but he's a freshman, and it shows at times. He's been picked a bunch of times this year, and I think he's probably good for a couple here. I don't think San Diego State does flatten out here. There's too much on the line. It's a road game. They're going to have plenty of crowd support. I would expect a good percentage of the crowd at Allegiant to be Aztec fans. So despite the scheduling dynamics, I think San Diego State's the right side in this football game. I expect them to get the win and cover. Not a blowout, but 2 touchdowns will certainly do it. I like San Diego State tomorrow night.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't talk you out of that one, Dave. And even situationally, you talk about the Aztecs in a potential sandwich spot. Well, it's not like UNLV's had a whole lot of 2-game winning streaks to play after in recent seasons. Let's talk one more in college football. And Boston College, to me, has been the easiest handicap there is all year. Every game Jerkovich played, they've won. Every game they haven't played, he's lost. BC, a 2-point favorite to Florida State. The competition a little bit tougher this week, perhaps, for the Boston College Eagles and their star QB. But what do you make of this one? Can the Jerkovich train keep rolling for the Boston College Eagles now that he's back in the lineup?
I honestly don't understand why the line went the way it did early in this game. Was it sharp market action in Florida State? Maybe. I really don't care about that. Boston College is better than Florida State. Okay? They've got a lot of momentum right now. They're already bowl eligible, but they've got a chance to move up a little bit in the ACC standings and get themselves a higher or more attractive bowl. And they've got a lot of positive momentum. And the game's at Chestnut Hill. Florida State, now we just talked about scheduling dynamics and ignoring them to some extent in the San Diego State game, but I like them here. Florida State off a thrilling comeback win in a big rivalry game against Miami last week. They had a nice lead in the game, blew it, fell behind 2 scores in the fourth quarter, got a field goal with about 4 minutes to go, and then scored a touchdown with a half a minute to go and beat the Hurricanes. Nice win for Florida State. Next week, they play Florida. Does the Boston College game mean a whole lot in between for a team that really has had trouble, it would appear, being focused on a regular basis? Boy, I'm not sure it does. I wish the weather was going to be worse because that would really favor the home team. It's not going to be a bad day on Saturday at Chestnut Hill. But I think the scheduling dynamics clearly favor Boston College, and I also think they're the better football team now that Jerkovich is back at QB. Cheap number. I think the Eagles definitely playable here.
Dave Cokin, everybody. Dave, what do you got to promote?
Let's see. I got a hockey game tonight, which I already told you about. 17-8 at the NHL so far. Very happy with that. So you don't need to buy that because you just got it. I don't think I'm going to play anything else in the NHL. Have a best bet in college basketball. 5-3 so far with those. Pretty good. I'll take 62.5% for the season. Let's put it that way. I think it gets to 67% tonight. I like my best bet tonight. I think the team I'm going with is a lot better than – they're the best team in their conference. And I think they're a little under the radar nationally, and I expect them to win by a decent margin tonight. College football, a bunch of games up for Saturday. I have hopes for them. And I haven't gotten the NFL up yet, but the NFL's on a big roll and looking to keep it going that way.
Dave Cokin, everybody. Guys, stay with us. We got so much more. If you like this show, please show us by taking 1 second out of your time to hit that like button. Teddy covers Big Game Breakdown coming up. Ralph Michaels' daily presidential address. And we're going to get to the Thursday night football game. That I promise. 10 seconds, everyone.
The Wager Talk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, $99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out.
It is time for today's Big Game Breakdown. Let's talk a little Thursday night NFL. Looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, I'm seeing the New England Patriots, mostly 7s. There are still some 6.5s out there with juice on the Patriots. Total sitting at 47 for Thursday night football tonight in this non-conference, non-showdown between the Pats and the Falcons. I got one simple question for this game, and I can't figure it out, is how's Atlanta going to score points? All right. When you're talking about a team that is Cordell Patterson's not healthy. All right, not close. Calvin Ridley's not playing. So we have Kyle Pitts as weapons. I don't know if Mike Davis is even going to play. It might be Wayne Gallman at RB, running back for the Falcons this evening. This is not a team that's primed to take shots down the field tonight. This is not a team with any big play weapons. And one would expect a whole lot of dink and dunk against a Patriots defense that's designed not to give up big plays. I don't see Atlanta lighting up the scoreboard tonight. When New England faces a foe that isn't likely to light up the scoreboard, what do the Patriots do? They come with a defensive mindset. They come with a run-first mindset. They're coming off a brilliant game offensively, but I'm not convinced you're going to get back-to-back games like that from the Patriots, especially on a short week with a rookie QB. They have 2 blowout wins against the Jets. They had the win last week. You take out those 3 games, and I know it's a lot to take out, but you take out those 3 games, you're talking about an offense that's averaging 21 points a game, 21 and a half points a game. I'm not, and of course, with a lead on the road on Thursday night football with less time to prepare, one would expect a relatively conservative game plan from Belichick and company. So you put it all together, I'm not expecting touchdowns in bunches. I'm not expecting big plays in bunches. I'm expecting a little bit of a yawner on Thursday night. Look for the Pats and the Falcons to stay under the total 47, the current number. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Couldn't agree with you more, brother. One of our listeners asked, when is the NFL presidential address going up? It should be up in the next few hours. I take this game apart, and one of the things I mentioned, Teddy, like what you're saying is, man, Matty Ice, what an appropriate name. Dude, if he was stuck in a freezer, the freezer would complain it's too cold. Anyway, Ralph Michaels joining us. Ralph, every Thursday, one of the best segments, period. Welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, always appreciate being here. I wish I could have followed after a better joke, Prez, but hey, it was a good effort.
Listen, I try, man. Like, I'm not exactly a comedic writer. It happens, or it doesn't. More often than
Absolutely.
not, it doesn't.
I do want to mention, guys, if you saw the commercial before Teddy came on, how often do people say, hey, I have a 5% in college basketball, my first of the season, but do not buy it. Why? That play is $35 at WagerTalk. With the current special we have, you could get 30 days of college basketball for $99. So why spend $35 for one play when you could get 30 days of my college hoops for just $99? Do take advantage today. and do it quickly. Make sure that 5% is included.
And of course, that Matt Ryan, who Prez wants to rip all the time, who is so cold that he's making the freezer cold, completed 68% of his passes this year with a 15-8 touchdown to interception ratio. I don't blame what's going on in Atlanta on Matt Ryan. You really think it's Matt Ryan's a cold quarterback, Prez?
Well, listen, that was a joke, Teddy, and I'm so glad you interrupted Ralph, who's talking about a promotion at Wager Talk where we make money to try to pick apart a joke. A joke. Anyway, do I blame Matt Ryan? I mean, okay, no, it's not completely his fault. The team is badly assembled, and I'll tell you something. Calvin Ridley's a huge loss, man. I mean, you put him out there, that'll open up space for Kyle Pitts. Then that'll in turn open up space for the running game. You know, it's like what we're seeing with the Raiders, man. They lose Ruggs, who created space for Waller, who created space for Jacobs, and the dominoes start to fall. So it would have been interesting to see if Ridley was still in, how bad they would be. But hey, they're only like a game out of the playoff position or something like that. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? Ralph, you want to add to that now that Teddy has interrupted us to try to take apart one of my jokes?
Yes, Prez. If you had used that line prior to my intro, I would have said, Prez, congratulations. That is an incredibly astute statement, and I completely agree with it. So, yes, the dominoes do fall when you can't stretch the field. You have a player like Pitts, and the running game gets affected. So, completely agree with that thought.
Yeah, well, thanks. So, Dan, the producer, now that we've had Teddy try to rip apart my joke, Ralph, piss all over me. Guys, watch the NFL Daily Presidential Address. You know why? Because I'm alone on that show. I don't get interrupted on that show. Anyway, Ralph, we love having you on, dude. We got lots of time. Chart number 1, I hand the mic to you.
2 charts, guys. Prez and Teddy like charts. I love color coding charts to quantify. We've talked about away favorites on this show in the NFL, and we've talked about how strong they've been in the NFL the last few seasons. And I think we all agree when we look at away favorites / home dogs, there's the small home favorites, home dogs, away favorites, and then when they get over a field goal. So I wanted to break down home dogs of 3.5 or more in the NFL, and I went back since 2016. If you look at the very bottom, if you blindly bet home dogs, you've hit 42.5%. That means if you've bet every away favorite in the NFL since 2015 of 3.5 points or more, you have covered 57.5%. But then I wanted to go a step further, and that's what, when you're breaking down these trends and angles, it's very important just not to take a number and say, oh, wow, look at this number. I'm going to play it the entire season. Look at when I went week by week. Green, red, red, green, green, red. But look at starting week 7 and on. 5 and 10, 6 and 4, 5 and 8, 7 and 6. And from week 11 on, every week in the NFL, red numbers. That means away favorites the second half of the season and later because much stronger. Why? Those teams get on a roll. We often see playoff teams play well down the stretch, finish strongly. What happens with bad teams at home? You fire your coaches. You have a lot of injuries. You're playing multiple quarterbacks. Perhaps you're experimenting with some young players. But look how strong that is from week 11 on. And actually, you can go back to week 7. Because if you take the 5 and 10 and 5 and 8 and add them together, you get 10 and 18. The other side, you get 13 and 10. Still a positive on those situations. But keep that in mind as the season progresses. Home dogs get weaker. Away favorites of 3.5 or more get stronger as the season progresses.
So this week, we're looking at San Francisco 6.5-point road favorites in Jacksonville. We have the Dolphins at 3.5 against the Jets. And then we have the Ravens as 4.5, 5-point favorites on the road at Chicago. You're saying fade those or bet on those road favorites / fade those home dogs. That's the positive expectation wagers for this week, Ralph, correct?
Absolutely, guys. If you look in the very chart, I'll post it on Twitter. But from week 10 on, which we're in the NFL now, home dogs of 3.5 or more on the very bottom, 36.3%. That means if you have blindly played away favorites since 2016, from week 10 on, they are 63.7%. Certainly something that you want to keep in mind when you're looking for teams in that situation.
Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. And Ralph, not to do this in your segment, but I did forget at the top of the show, and I must make mention Carmine Bianco on a 10-0 NHL run. He's won his last 10 plays, lost 0 of them. And Ralph, you were talking about that promotion. Guys, it's a perfect promotion to use for Carm, $99 for a month of his NHL. Ralph, my apologies, but we're all a team, and a 10-0 run. I have to mention it because they don't happen every day.
Prez, it just puts it in perspective. How much value there is in that $99 special. 5% play, $35. The rest of the month for $99. So be it skis NBA, Teddy's red hot in multiple sports, Prez, you in the NBA and NHL and college basketball. So a great time to pick and choose, make your own package, who you like, but absolutely one of the best specials we've had. And it allows people that might not get 30 days because they don't want to play everything, now get exactly what they want.
Awesome. Ralph Michaels, chart number 2, or did we go through that already?
Nope. Guys, last week we talked about division revenge, and I said we would bring it up this week. Teddy and Prez, no question. How many times are we going to read, now that we're in the second half of the season and division teams are playing each other for the second time? I'm going to say, if I had to drink a beer every time I read someone write, this team lost on the road the first time, they are now at home, and they have revenge. That is a strong situation. You guys absolutely know I hate revenge. I joked with Kelly on Bet on It yesterday. I've gone on VR-type rants talking about how revenge is the stupidest word in betting. Every team in the NFL has revenge every single time they play them. Every team in the NBA has revenge every single game. There's always a team that has revenge. But meaningful revenge is something completely different. If you lose in the playoffs, meaningful revenge. If you lose to a division foe the first time in the season, is it meaningful revenge the second time? Prez and Teddy, I'm going to bust the myth. Take a look at this. Since 2015, look at the home favorites and home dogs. So let me set the scenario. You're a division opponent. You already played that foe on the road and you lost. You therefore have revenge as either a home favorite or home dog. Look at those records, guys. When you lose to a division foe the first time of the season and you're a home favorite, the second game, you've covered 43.9%. If you lost on the road the first game and you're a home dog, you've covered 46% of the spread. Now, we see one green category, and to me, it makes perfect sense. An away favorite. That means you lost the first game at home. Well, if you're an away favorite in the second game and you lost the game at home, that likely means you were a big home favorite, or perhaps the other team has had quarterback issues. Let's say an example. You were at home, you were a 10-point favorite, and you lost to a division foe. Now you're an away favorite of maybe 2 or 3. That's one scenario. But if you lose at home and now you are an away favorite in the NFL, you have covered 72%. So if you read, this team lost the first time on the road, they're now at home, that's a positive. Folks, that is a myth buster. A negative situation for both home favorite and home dog.
So, Ralph, I want to ask you a question here about the strength of the subsets. We're talking about a 44% subsets for home favorites in revenge and a 46% subset for home dogs in revenge so far this season. This is over the last 5 years. 44%, 46%, certainly not good winning percentages. But is that enough to get you off of it? Let's say you like a home favorite or a home dog in a revenge spot. Is the fact that those teams have only cashed at a 44 or a 46% rate, is that enough to get you off a play? Are those avoid like the plague? Or is that, if you're building a case for the team that won the first meeting to win the second meeting, this is the way you can do it? Talk about the strength of these type of negative ATS looks, but not disastrous ATS looks.
Teddy and Prez, we've talked about this often. You're never going to bet a game on a system, an angle, or a trend. What you want to do is make it part of your complete profile. You check your matchup. You do your situational handicapping. You then do your technical handicapping with friends. You look at the emotions involved. You start doing check marks in each category. Which team has the edge? So no, let me flip it around on you, Teddy. It's saying that the road team is 55%. A 55% trend or angle is never going to have me bet that side, but it may give me one check mark in that category. So if my other handicapping techniques has me leaning that way, this may put me over the edge, or if it's in that gray area, this may pull it off. But by no means will I not play a team in a 45% situation. I will be aware of it. I will mark it down. I will put it in my final process. But again, you have 7 or 8 things you're looking at: power ratings, injuries, weather, all of those things, plus situational, technical matchups go into your final process. You make the determination and come out with your plays at the end of the week.
Awesome stuff. Great question, Teddy. Great answer, Ralph. Ralph, let's go. NFL game. Miami and the Jets. This is going to be a doozy. Joe Flacco announced as the starting quarterback. How are we betting this game?
You guys might think I'm 18 Miller Lights into this segment when I'm telling you I'm going to go under first half. The Jets defense has been abysmal. The Jets have gone over the total 6 straight games. So why am I liking the under? Well, Prez, you brought it up. It's Joe Flacco. Why did they go with Joe Flacco? Well, this Miami's defense is playing well. They've allowed 309 yards the last 3 games. The Buffalo, yes, Houston was in there, and Baltimore. But let me remind you, Houston's currently the number 5 offense. Baltimore's the number 2 offense. And Miami held those 3 foes to 309 yards per game, thanks to getting 9 sacks the last 2 games. And getting 4 sacks against the Baltimore Ravens is no easy task. With that pressure and with the Jets the way they're playing, they obviously want the experienced quarterback in there. The Jets defense has been horrific because, number 1, they're bad. But more importantly, number 2, they are minus 10 turnovers the last 4 games. Folks, if you're an NFL team and you are minus 10 turnovers, giving the offense easy positions to score, every defense is going to have bad numbers. The Jets have lost 13 turnovers in those 4 games. You look at the Jets' offense this year, 47 first half points. That's for the entire season. The Jets are averaging 5.2 points per game the first half. I think they come out very conservative, running with Flacco early. You look at Miami. Miami's offense, they average over 25 rushes the last 4 games. We've gone back and forth to a Brissett. I think you want to have a conservative start to the season. So I'm going to go under first half. First half totals 22. I think you may have to open up the passing game if one team gets an edge in the second half. But we're talking division foes, both trying to get out of the basement in the AFC East. And I do like under the total for the first half.
So here's my question for you on this one, Ralph, because from every quote out of the Jets brain trust, they're saying that they want Flacco specifically against defenses like Miami. Robert Saleh, head coach, that's why we brought in a guy like Joe for situations like this, because Miami is a team that wants to blitz and blitz early and often. They gave Lamar Jackson all kinds of problems last week. 24 defensive back blitzes from the Dolphins last week against Baltimore. And certainly the Jets are concerned about that this time around. And the thought process is that Flacco's not going to make the mistakes that a Mike White might make. He's going to be able to see the blitzes and do the pre-snap coverages better, which might lead to a higher scoring first half, because one would think that perhaps they won't make as many mistakes and the offense might move the football a little bit. And if the Dolphins are blitzing, it could open things up for some big plays in the passing game. Does Flacco being in this game as the starter make you like the under more or less when it comes to this first half wager?
It's more, Teddy. Now, I think they're going to come out very conservative. And you got to remember, Flacco's not new to this team. He started 4 games last year. And in fact, in those 4 games, he averaged 13 points per game. So he knows the offense. He knows the personnel. Flacco in his 4 starts last year, 0-1-1-0, 0-1-2-1 ratio, as I'm looking it up as I speak. So he has a 2-2 ratio. So if they're taking care of the ball and they don't want to put him in that position early, I'm expecting a ton of runs early, couple play action plays. Let's let this first half run out, keep the game close. So, you're always making that decision when you have a new quarterback, how you think the game will play out. And that's where the handicapping differences are. You perhaps think they might take a few shots. I think they're going to be conservative early, save those shots for the second half if they need them. So be it if they get behind or in a close game.
Ralph Michaels, everyone. Guys, please hit that like button. 20 more to go for the daily presidential address, and I am on an 8-1-1 run. Teddy, just such an interesting point you made, and it boggles the mind, the stupidity of some of these coaches and general managers. Let's say Joe Flacco goes out and really kills it against that blitz, just rocks, and they only lose by 3 instead of 30. Or let's say they even win. So now they get a worse draft pick. They don't get to find out who their quarterback of the future is. They don't get to put their young quarterbacks, in a position that they need to learn how to deal with. Why are they even doing this? I don't get this Joe Flacco thing at all. At all.
Conceptually, all right, I would much rather have a veteran backup come in and get beat up behind a bad offensive line and an offense that doesn't know what they're doing than have your young quarterback come in and have his confidence destroyed by playing behind a bad offensive line and an offense that doesn't know what they're doing.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, we've seen when you're in the midst of a dismal season, all right, yeah, you want to get your first rounder, the quarterback of the future, some playing time, but he's not healthy. Mike White is not healthy. And Mike White's coming off a 4 INT performance that really doesn't deserve a second shot. So what do? You stick Flacco in there and you say, hopefully he'll make fewer mistakes than the other guys. I don't know that I love the decision, but it's a decision that NFL coaches make a lot of the time. And when it comes to getting your young QB's confidence destroyed, I'd rather have the veteran backup come in and get his confidence destroyed.
I wonder what the owner is thinking. Is like, you want me to pay millions of dollars for this shit? Anyway,
the owners,
Ralph, Teddy, let's go. Ralph, Ohio State, Michigan State, massive game. What's going down? How are we handicapping this? What should we bet?
I'm going to go over in this one, and I'm going to go first half again. The current total 35.5, and yes, that seems high. But when I match up these two teams, I watch every Ohio State game. Being from Cleveland, grew up Ohio State, and it's laughable when I hear these announcers say oh, look at what Ohio State's defense has done. They've turned it around. That is the biggest BS there is. Let's see. Why did they turn it around after they allowed 500 yards to Tulsa? They played Akron. They played Rutgers. They played a depleted Maryland team. And they played an Indiana team without a quarterback. That's why they turned around the defense. It wasn't that the defense all of a sudden became the Georgia Bulldogs. You look at Purdue last week, they gave up 481 yards and 28 first downs. The important stat when you're looking at Ohio State is this. Minnesota, the number 21 rush team. Oregon, number 10. Tulsa, number 40. Nebraska, number 36. Against those four foes, they're allowing 443 yards per game. The teams they did well with, listen to these rush numbers. Akron 106, Rutgers 81, Maryland 112, Indiana 108, Penn State 119, Purdue 128. Guess what? Michigan State, the number 29 rush team in the country. Michigan State will move the ball. Ohio State's offense, the best in the country when Garrett Wilson's back. We saw him back last week. We saw the triple-headed monster of Smith-Njigba, Wilson, Olave. And then you add in Ruckert, Henderson, the freshman running back. You add in, a slew of backup wide receivers who were number one in their recruiting class. Ohio State's pass attack completely awesome. And guess what? Michigan State, number 130 in pass D. Guess what, guys? There's 130 teams in Division I FBS football. Michigan State dead last. Both teams score. Both teams score early. I will say this. On College Football Today, earlier this season, I talked about how Ryan Day kept his foot on the gas in the second half. Folks, they got Michigan on deck. We saw him pull his foot off the gas in the second half against Indiana. We saw him pull his foot off the gas last week against Purdue. So I don't want to go full game on this, but first half, over 35.5, Ohio State and Michigan State.
So the Spartans' offense hasn't worked in any meeting against Ohio State in any recent year. Last 5 meetings between Michigan State and Ohio State over the last 5 years, the most Michigan State has scored in any of those games is 16 points. And if you think about what the Spartans want to do in this game, they want to shorten the game. They want to run Walker as much as they can, and they want to keep that Ohio State offense off the field. Do either of those concern you? Because Michigan State doesn't want to play an up and down game, and their offense hasn't been able to move the ball against this defense in the last half decade.
Again, half decade, Teddy, are teams that had Boza on it and Chase Young and cornerbacks that are all playing in the NFL. So, this defense is allowing 369 yards per game. So, it's not that elite defense. Yeah, it's a very good defense. But I am not concerned because I think Ohio State's going to score. Yes, if Michigan State's the better team, can control tempo and keep Ohio State out of the end zone, to me, it's correlated. If you lean with Michigan State, you think their defense is going to slow Ohio State, you like the under. I think Ohio State's offense is going to score. Therefore, it takes Michigan State having the score. And in the first half, I think they still run their offense enough, use enough play action. We've seen Ohio State get ripped up on play action. When you got Walker averaging 6.5 yards per carry, the play action will work. So I understand the thought process of Michigan State in this situation, but this is the same Michigan State team that scored 37 points against a very good Michigan defense. So obviously there's always some concern when you make the play, but clearly I side enough that thinking they will do enough to score the first half. I need Ohio State to get to 28 the first half, and I need Michigan State to get to 10, clearly in my range.
And that's the show, guys. Ralph Michaels, Dave Cokin, Teddy Covers. I'm Lawrence Presman. 300 of you watched. It's not tough to hit a like button, guys. We're going to leave on an 8-1-1 presidential run. We'll see you next Friday. Ralph, thank you. I'm off to the airport. Teddy, take us home, baby.
That's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition. Bye-bye, Prez. We'll see you after Thanksgiving. That being said, we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same channel, myself and Steve Merrill, with your Sports Central for Gamblers, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
The WagerTalk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, $99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out.